Seriously, Odin, dude.
There.
Love you, dude, but no.
We'll have a few questions for Odin as well.
You know what? We all do. Why do you like your mom's keyboard so much? What is it about that?
What are you trying to communicate? What is it? What are you spelling?
Yeah, use your words, buddy. That's but you know, he never does. Okay,
it's like being in a country where you don't speak the language from from what I understand.
Yeah, done that one.
Which country was it?
I was in at the time I was in Germany when I got thrown off of that train.
Nice. I love this story.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Let's see. Do we need it? We probably need a background of some kind. I would assume that would look a little bit better. Background's good. Okay. Let's just blur it out, I guess. Well, no. At any rate, can we go with this, or is this just
totally fine?
It's all right.
It's all about you. So this is we got you, and you're good. You do a really good job. I've liked this. I've actually been working on this. You get in so you're right here. I tend to, as I sit back, I go way back on the screen. So I've been thinking about you, and I'm like, get right up in here. And so, yeah, you're good. Cause it doesn't matter what's in the background. Yep.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for that. I work really hard on that. In fact, my normal camera, it's on one of those arm lamps that it's on a boom basically. And I just bring it toward me. And the reason why I do that is because most people view these on their phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I noticed it on all the, panels and just places where you were. It's much nicer. It feels, again, more intimate, closer. We're just closer. So very good. All right, my friend. Are you settled? Are you settled?
I feel amazing. One more thing. I'm just going to elevate this just a little so I'm not doing that into the camera. That. Ooh, I'm feeling that. Are you feeling that?
Yeah, that just got even, if there was an extra level there, it just took us there.
Well, I'm all about the extra levels, my friend.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm all ready. I am completely ready.
Great. Well, we want to maximize time with you, get as much, on tape as possible. So Andrew's going to give us a little walk-in, make sure we're dialed in, and then we'll get started here.
Beautiful.
All right. Let's go. So the very first thing that we do is check audio quality, which I've already done since you rejoined on your iPad. You sound great. So that's wonderful. And then the only other thing that we like to do is to make sure that we try to turn off anything that's going to ping, Google Calendar, text messages. We like to silence things, makes our editor's life a little bit easier. And then once that's all taken care of, we're good to go. Oh, did we lose?
Okay, my do not disturb is on.
Bam.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. RJ.
All right.
So I know you've done a million of these. Do you have any questions on our show in particular? Can I give you a little backdrop? Just a quick little backdrop on it?
Yeah, give me backdrop. Give me backdrop. I'd love it.
InJoy Success. We're really, our mission is really to give people permission to define success in a way that brings them the most amount of joy. And so we want to unhook that from society's definition, unless that's what they're choosing. And we do that by asking, that'll be the one question that's scripted is, I'll start with, could you define success in your own words? So want to hear your version of it. And then we'll just have a conversation. But the show, just a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of coaches, everyone's on the personal development journey. And so we like to just have stories of people who have created an amazing life for themselves, and some of a little bit about their journey, some of the secrets they've learned along the way. We'll definitely highlight engagement as an overall theme, just not only engagement in how you do it in work, but just in life. Like, I think you're just a great example of being engaged and creating high level engagement as you move through the world. So that's a beautiful, kind of fundamental quality of creating a great life, I think. So, so that's it. One scripted question, everything else will be just a conversation. And I always like to ask, is there anything on your heart today around that you'd like to share around success, creating a life that people love, anything that you want to make sure we get to?
Yes. I would say, to on this particular day, embrace your weird.
Okay.
Just embrace it. I'm going to shut my door real quick.
Yeah.
For some reason, everybody's got to come see me today. All right. Yeah, I would say, I would love
To
to
explore
talk.
embracing that. Let's do it. I mean, I think that'll be really nice. Obviously, wherever you want to go will be great, but that'll be one thing we'll make some space for. All right. So I will start with a little intro for the show, then a light intro for you, and then we'll start with that first question.
Awesome.
You ready?
I am so ready.
All right, here we go, my friend. Let's get that. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the InJoy Success podcast, where we explore success, real success, defined as having a life rich in the things that matter most: happiness, gratitude, contribution, health, and love. We interview people from all walks of life, all different backgrounds, careers, ages, etc. But the one thing they have in common is that they have created an extraordinary life for themselves. And through their stories, insights, successes, and failures, you will see that regardless of circumstances, we all have the power to create a life we truly love. I'm your host, Jeff Baetto, and if you're serious about your own personal growth and creating a life you truly love, this is the podcast for you. InJoy Success is dedicated to bringing you the most holistically successful people on the planet, not only to inspire you with their own stories, but to share their secrets on how you can literally create the life of your dreams. So make sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss any of our episodes. My guest today is RJ Redden. RJ is a chatbot strategist and a designer of epic engagement experiences. Her company, BlackBeltBots, is on a mission to give people the tools they need to really connect and to experience the power of engagement marketing. RJ has been coaching people about technology since 1998. And what I love about RJ is that she's an expert on one of my very favorite all-time topics: engagement. As business owners and entrepreneurs, we know that whoever can get people to engage with our content in a meaningful way wins, period. But even more importantly is that in life in general, engagement is on the front lines of success. How engaged are we in our work, in our relationships, in creating the life we truly want to be living? Our level of engagement in these areas is directly proportional to the results and ultimately the joy that we will experience. RJ has dedicated her life to not only figuring out what's at the heart of creating engagement, but in making sure she knows the best ways to share what she has learned with others. How dedicated is she? She once spent 5 months in a country where she didn't know the language just so she could learn to explain things more effectively to people. Today, we're going to hear a little bit more about her journey, as well as some of the secrets she's learned along the way. It's an absolute honor to have her with us today. RJ, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm so happy to be here. I have been looking forward to this. You don't even know.
I'm so glad. This is, you've been one of those just gifts in my life to meet you, then have the conversations we've had, and now to have you on the show. So thanks so much for joining us today. We like to jump right in. Can you define success for us in your words, please?
Yes, absolutely. And my success is defined for me in time that I'm present. So what I mean is, of course, time where if I'm spending time with my wife, I'm spending time with my wife. If I am working, I'm working. If I am spending time in my art studio painting, I'm painting. The more I can be present within this day, we only have one life, Jeff, and I want to be present for mine, and be present for how I feel. Sometimes it's a little sad. Sometimes it's a little worried, but being present and allowing myself to feel those things and take some action accordingly gets rid of those feelings a heck of a lot faster than going, well, I should really binge Stranger Things 4 this weekend. Now, I really should, but
you can do that as well. But yeah.
Not as an escape.
Not as an escape.
Intentionally.
Yeah. Beautiful. Now, do me a favor. And if you can, looking back, can you give us a little insight as to where that definition and how you got, really the clarity that's what success meant to you?
Absolutely. So I was an exchange student about 10 years ago. And I was in Austria in a place called Innsbruck. They had the Winter Olympics there one year. And there was a guy who owned a marketing agency, an ad agency, I think. And he came down to talk to our class about entrepreneurship. And he's talking to 8 American students. And he's Austrian. He's from Innsbruck there. And somebody asked him, how many hours of work do you do? How many hours a week do you work? And he said about 35. And I think everyone in the room gasped. We entrepreneurs only working 35 hours a week. Are you really working? Come on, man. We were just shocked to hear that answer. And he said, I do not live a deferred lifestyle. I do not live a life in which I defer my happiness until the very end of it. You might not ever even get there. And that really just struck me, not as just a cultural difference, but as an individual point of view. I want to enjoy June 3rd, 2022, to the best of my ability. It's not coming back. Today I get to spend time with my friend Jeff. So clearly a win. All of you as well, clearly a win. And this is how I measure my life. It's not income, although we all love income, but that is the real measure, how much I am present for my life today.
I love that. And I had a very similar realization in Spain. I studied in Spain in college, and there was an expat who was the teacher for one of our classes, and she told us day one, like, things are different over here. And here's what I want your semester to look like. I want you to get lost. Like, I want you to walk around, not pay attention to where you're going, just follow like the smells and the whatever and just wander. And I was like, what? Like, that's not, like, no purpose, no direction. And she said, yes, you're going to have homework, but that's not where you're going to learn here. Like, make sure anyway. And she really laid this out. And I remember, like, okay, that sounds good. And a couple of days later, I needed to mail something home. That was a long time ago. We needed to go to the mail, it was mail, real mail. And I got there at 9 o'clock. I had places to be, and I'm there at 8:45. Well, I'm waiting for the door to open. 9 o'clock comes, 9:05, 9:10. Nobody's coming. No one's coming to the open. And I'm like, what's going on? And all of a sudden, some people are also waiting, and no one else is agitated. Like, I'm frustrated, if not angry. And pretty soon someone said, I'm like, do you know, like, did I read the sign wrong? Is this, oh no, I'm sure they'll be here. They probably just met a friend on the way, and they're probably having coffee or doing something. And it hit me that for them, like, I asked about this, I told this, and she said, oh, this is a really important lesson. That my teacher, she said, yep, in Spain, they don't put work first. It's God, for them, it was, a lot of the country's religious. So it was God, family, friends, something, hobbies, then work. I mean, it was maybe a little bit further down the path than I would, but it was so stark, the difference, that all of a sudden it was amazing to realize, whoa, maybe there's a different way of doing it. And what if we didn't defer things? What if it was something that was happening more in real time? Wouldn't we all like to be spending more time with friends and family? And so I just love that. So this person says, I'm not going to defer life 35 hours. And how do you go from that to, I'm going to practice being present and start living into that definition you shared?
So the bridge was that from that moment on, it was like, I want to do incredible, massive, gigantic, world bending things with my work. And I don't have to work 80 or 120 hours a week or 60 hours a week to make that happen. It took a while for that to sink in, because I was a grad student. Grad school is like, I would sleep occasionally during grad school. You know what
Sleep
I mean?
was optional. Yeah.
Sleeps for the weak. You know what I'm saying? It's just so it took a while for that to sink in as a really busy student. And then as I went into my professional life, believe it or not, I devoted myself to a corporate entity for a while, Whoops.
It
That was
happens.
kind of a mistake, everybody.
It happens.
But I thought that that's what I needed to do. I've got this big old degree now. I need to go and get a big old job because that's what I thought I was going to do. And it didn't work out so well. I can't be told what to do. Jeff, I will tell you a secret right now. I cannot even write on lined paper. Okay?
Oh, that's extreme. You're not.
I don't take orders well.
That's very interesting and good to know. What are these lines doing here? I want to write this way.
I would like to draw, please.
Yeah.
This is all getting in my way.
Very confining. Yep.
Exactly. So what it grew into from I don't have to work 80 hours a week to make this happen is that's a fine goal. But what does that look like on a daily basis? And on a daily basis, what it looks like is being present for my life, being 100% devoted to whatever it is that I'm doing. And my life has gotten better. My clients they've made better changes in their life because I'm not looking at you, listening to you, but thinking about something else.
How do you do that, RJ? Like this is theoretically, this sounds awesome. I'm getting that I can feel the collective question. Like, yeah, that sounds awesome, but how did you start to calm the noise, calm the background noise that's so inherently happening for most of us as we do something? Invariably, we're getting the reminders or that background noise of the millions of other things that we may or should be doing or whatever the case is. How did you start to quiet those?
Yeah. So technically there are some things that you can do to quiet that stuff. And maybe that's a different podcast. But for me, it was a big realization that 99% of it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I can't attend to all of those things. Most of it, notifications wise, most of it like on different platforms and stuff, most of it doesn't matter anyway. But even the things that do matter, somebody will get a hold of me. Like that, people know my phone number. It's okay. It's okay. And it absolutely. Oh, here's another thing that's just sort of influenced. I'm really going down a bunny trail now, Jeff. I hope that this. Okay.
Hop on down.
Yeah. So another thing that just really influenced me, I had this mentor when I was in grad school and Dr. Wolcott. And gosh, what I learned from him is stop learning. Stop getting on that, that constant learn something, review it so you know it, move on, learn something else, move it, you know what? No, stop it all. Add a cycle of reflection in. And I know you believe in this too.
Yeah.
If you do not reflect upon what you have learned, it's like reflection gives something gravity. I can learn a concept and an idea and it's floating out there and it's great. And I review it and okay, it's up there somewhere. I could maybe get a hold of it if I needed to. But when I reflect upon its place in my life, that pulls that cloud down to earth, gives it a shape, gives it weight. And now it's a thing.
It's a thing. I like that. It does give it gravity. Reflection gives, I love that. Reflection. Everyone make a note of that. When we reflect, we're giving our new knowledge or concepts gravity so that they actually become a thing.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And that's what I wanted. That's exactly what I wanted. He taught me that. And I was like, oh, this is amazing, because all of a sudden it gave me a perspective on learning. And it gave me an experience, which I still teach people to this day. And it's that reflection part is so important. It's just, don't do without it. If you're in your business and if you're learning a whole lot and, maybe you're on a course or maybe you're in a coaching program, that stuff is amazing and massive and cool. Please keep doing that, but take the time at the end of the day.
I'd also like to, because, education is so focused on in our society, in our culture going, you did graduate work and all those. So learning, we prioritize, but this idea of reflection is not something that we typically it's not that we don't value it, but we don't maybe prioritize it. But there's something that comes up a lot in our work, which is this forgetting curve, that humans aren't really designed to absorb a lot of information at once. Something like 50% we forget within an hour, 75% within 48 hours, and almost everything within 3 weeks. And this idea of reflection, it feels like, again, by making it real and concrete in my life, I have a much greater chance of actually remembering that and integrating it into a useful tool long term. Is that also what you experienced?
That's also what I experienced. And then that's why, so many people love to talk about storytelling and how well that works in marketing, in everything, when you're teaching, in everything. And that's because we are giving certain things gravity. When we're telling a story, we're setting a scene. We're thinking about, what did that look like? What did that smell like? What did that, was I sweating? What was going on? And when we do that, when we give something detail, then that is something that sticks in the minds of people. Here's something just crazy. So when I was back in corporate world, the owner, who was a very eccentric human, would get together and talk about, why isn't this marketing working, and all of this kind of stuff, just the usual stuff that lots of companies go through. Why isn't this marketing working? And the problem is some people tend to think that people just aren't paying attention. Like, why didn't you read, or why didn't you get that? Here's the thing. There are so many glowing rectangles you're going to come across in your whole day, and all of them have something to say. And your spouses, your kids, your partners, your pets, they all have something to say too. And there's all this stuff coming at us all the time, 90% of which, a lot of it is irrelevant. And so we've got blinders on. It's not that people don't think your content is interesting. It's not that people didn't bother to read your FAQ before they asked you that question. It's that they are so inundated by the daily amount of information that they get, that they have to have blinders to walk through life. Now, how do you get across that barrier? You be relevant, you be valuable, you give them something, you tell them a story that they can remember.
You engage, if it becomes, I've heard you talk about this, but if it becomes interactive, right, instead of just single-sided, right, now they have to become more present, right? It's not just coming at them, they're being asked to participate. And as soon as we participate, we're engaging. And now all of a sudden it's a very different experience than another billboard, right?
Yes, Jeff. Another billboard. I am going to use that because it's so prominent for, especially when people are on their own, maybe they're starting their coaching biz or whatever. It's so prevalent to think, oh, my content must not be good enough. It's not catching anybody's eye. I get it. I have been there. I've been that content creator. I have been that human. And it is so hard because we want to blame ourselves. No. Let us take a look at the world around us. The secret is to invite people to play. It doesn't, in a video, in a challenge, in a chatbot, in a quiz, the secret is to get them to play with you. Once they make that choice, then you have all of a sudden an environment where you can co-create the message.
Yeah.
And the co-creation is beautiful because that other person feels respected and they feel like, hey, I matter in this conversation, rather than stuff.
Yeah, it's really, I'm two things that came up which are powerful. Like one, the content, I think we do go through that as business owners or content creators. Like, it's like, oh, is mine good enough? How come it's not getting spread around? But what you made me think of is I don't know if people like TikTok or not, but I like TikTok because it just, never done one, but I watch it and my feed is fantastically inspirational and funny, and whatever I have, but sometimes I'll watch like for 10 minutes, 8 or 9, whatever it is. And they're all amazing, like brilliantly edited together, super powerful, all of them inspiring. And then I stop and like, can I name 3 of them that I saw? And usually I cannot. Out of 10, like I can't name 3. And they were all amazing. I saved them all. I want to see them again. I'll never do that. And so great content with versus then if we recently had a workshop and just giving a little breakout room, one simple question, share something with somebody in that room, and everybody comes back and then they're asked to share again. And everybody, to a person, that was powerful. Here's what I learned. I made this connection. I really like this person. I couldn't believe we had this in common. And all of a sudden the energy was totally different on the most basic, not very creative question versus these unbelievably professionally, amazingly produced shorts that were truly inspiring. But what they're going to remember more is when they had a chance to share some of them, and they were actually participating instead of just being shown something. Being what is the word?
Passive spectator.
Passive instead of being a passive spectator. Yes. Okay.
That is exactly it. It's like this, Jeff. I don't know if you've ever put IKEA furniture together. Have you done this?
I have. I have a 7-year-old son, and we put together a dresser when he was 5 or 4, and that was a very long day. Yeah.
Yes. Now.
Great day, but long day.
Great day. How much does he appreciate and love that dresser?
It's something I don't know how much he may or may not quite remember that, but for me, we treasure it because we put that thing together. Yeah. It's pretty amazing. Yep. Yeah.
And when you and I put something together, when we're taking action to build something in the world, even if that thing is small, it's huge.
It is. You know what? I'm also thinking because this, I love the studies of different things that have worked in this. And one of the times, I don't know if I don't go to Subway, but Subway as a restaurant chain suddenly was everywhere. And one of the reasons that they said was the success is they gave people the chance to build they had some say in their sandwich. And literally, again, all we're doing is like, oh, can I have a little bit more tomatoes? Or and it's this simple thing, but at the end, that's exactly what I wanted. I helped create that. Not really, but yeah. And I think that there's it's just a little bit. We don't even have to they don't have to build the whole house. Like IKEA furniture. It's like, I just am really pushing these things together, but there is a very big difference in my sense of accomplishment and my connection to that thing when I did something.
When your connection, active. Yes, well, you said it right there. It builds a connection. And that is what we want with our people so very much. We want that connection. We want that, you and I made something together. And if you think of another great, big, huge international crazy brand that starts with an S that lets you make your, it's Starbucks.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Going in and
the pride of I'll have a double this and a vest and hold of this and half of this and extra hot. And I mean, it really is. It's the same thing. You're having a cup of coffee, but I want mine. I want a little say in mine. And and that's why I think so. This is beautiful. So I want to come back because you started your definition by presence, and then engagement is your expertise. Can you tell me the relationship between being present and then how that led to, that started your journey 10, 11 years ago. Then how did that kind of warp into engagement as a theme?
I backed into engagement and tripped over it.
Yeah.
So I want you to know that this was not a beautiful philosophical, I had the light on this journey. No, I tripped and I landed face first in engagement. And I went, this is different. And in fact, what happened is, on that reflection journey, when I got out of school, I tried to do my own business. my own, I could just kind of an IT help desk business for mom and pop shops around here. I didn't do that well. I wasn't, I didn't have some of the connections that I have today, and I didn't know really what I was doing. So I needed a job, got a job. And then, but it was 2.5 years later that I left that job gracefully, sort of, one day at 10 o'clock in the morning. Anyway, different story for a different day. And I started my coaching again. And when I did that, I got networked. That really helped a ton. And then I started working with folks, and I would work with folks on social media campaigns, email campaigns, all of those kinds of things like that. What really bothered me, and when I learned upon reflection a lot of times, was that I would tell people exactly what they needed to do, and they'd be like, this is awesome. They would take that advice, they'd run with it, and 6 months later I would get the call. RJ, this stopped working 3 weeks ago overnight, and I don't know why, and I'm doing the same thing and nothing's coming in. And I would have to say, the algorithm changed.
Yeah.
We must start from scratch. And they would say, really? And I would say, really, it's the way that it's done. Pretty much as you master the formula becomes brand new. And you got to master it again. That was a huge frustration in my business. I did not know what to do. But that through reflection, it's like this feels like I'm bait and switching people. And they just, they hear all about all this glorious stuff and people making millions of dollars overnight on social media. That's a story, people. And then they come to me and I do the best I can. And I keep running into this wall. The other thing was that it was all one-way communication. And I was like, does it really have to be this way? I remember, back in the olden days, this will date me, Jeff, but I know you'll still love me. I remember when we had 3 channels and UHF, the television, there weren't a lot of choices. And in order to broadcast a message in that age, you needed to have really good relations with somebody in charge of that equipment and those crews, or you needed a lot of money. Today, we can record something like we're doing right now and put it on the airwaves when the editing is done, and boom, we've got a masterpiece on the freaking air. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. Except everybody now, because we all have the power to broadcast, no one listens. When we have those 3 channels way to the back to the wind, don't calculate the years, people. But
just trust us. That was the way it was.
It was crazy. It was craziness. Phones hung on walls. It was the strangest thing. Anyway, it was, you kind of had to, if that's what you wanted to do, you had to listen to what was available. Now we all have this beautiful power to express, but there's so much expression going on that just no one is listening, and it's all one way. And I was so distraught over that one-way communication. It just bummed me out, and I didn't know what to do. And how I stumbled backwards and face planted into engagement was one day. I knew that these 2 things were a problem: one-way communication, and also the former problem that I mentioned, that I would tell people things to do, and then it would just jerk the rug out from under them. I knew those 2 problems were huge and terrible, and I didn't know what to do. One day I ran into a chatbot. I had this client who would jump into things technologically and then call me 2 weeks later and say, save me. I have no idea what I'm doing. And so I saw her jump into a group about chatbots. I had heard her mention them more than 3 times. And I thought to myself, I'll get ahead of the curve. You know what I mean? I'll shoot in there.
This is coming. I'm going to get the call. I'm just going to be really ready for this one. Yeah.
I popped into a chatbot. It told me to, start here. Everybody starts here. I'm like, okay, I'll follow the rules this one time. And I clicked on the button, and the chatbot introduced itself as a chatbot. It told me, you can do the following things. You can make the following choices in here. And then it told me a dad joke.
Little person, yeah.
5 minutes later, I was in love for the second time in my life. And I just knew this was the conversation. This was the conversation, the two-way interaction that I had been looking for, that social media posting most of the time it cannot provide. That all of the things that I had been doing had been shouting out into the universe with a megaphone, hoping somebody will trickle back. So that maybe I could buy a bigger megaphone so that I could stand on a bigger street corner. Yeah. And eventually what happens to everyone is that they lose their voice. They lose what makes them special, unique, different, and cooler than anybody else. They just lose it because they're trying so much to sound like everybody else.
Well, and what I'm hearing as well is when we have to just keep yelling louder, right? If that's our only way of growing, like we will naturally lose our voice. Like that's the anatomy of that, right? Versus if we really connect with a handful of people and those people turn around and just have a conversation with a handful of people and those people turn around and all of a sudden our message has gotten to the same amount of people, but we are still just having a conversation with a handful of people or whatever that is. But it's a much more authentic, I don't know if calmer is the word I'm hearing in my mind right now, but it's just, we don't have to get louder. We just, again, need to have a more real experience.
Yes, you don't have to get louder to be heard. I want everyone on your podcast to know that you do not, that's the assumption, is if you get louder and if you get more, and if you fight for more, and if you pay more for pay-per-click, and if you louder. No, I want to trade. I want to invite your entire audience to trade with me. Trade in your megaphone for a laser. Who is out there right now? Who is out there that would absolutely resonate like a guitar string? If you got the message. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, this just hit me. I've heard you speak on this and how powerful that is, right? Obviously, I think we can get the analogy of the laser really having the power versus just yelling and hoping something sticks. But what hit for me personally is a dating example. Before I met my wife, I was on the dating sites had just kind of come in, and I was giving that a shot. But who I was being, and my childhood experience was I wanted to be liked. Like that was my childhood thing, is I just wanted to be liked. I didn't want anyone to not like me. So I was putting out a very generic, hard to not like version of myself, but it certainly wasn't a filter. So I had a lot of nice people, a lot of not, it was whatever. But when I finally said, like, I really want to find my partner. I want to find ultimately my wife. Like I don't have time to meet everybody. Like it's okay to not have everybody like me. It's really okay. Like, but I really want the one to be able to connect with me. And so I redid everything. And then within literally 3 weeks, I was paired with my wife. And that was an amazing example to me of, again, and I hadn't really thought about that, but if we would do that in our businesses, if we get clear and we do speak to exactly who we want to help or who we want to connect with, or do we just share who we really want to be? There is a laser, and I'm also feeling like the laser is like magnetic as well. I don't know, like it's some sort of laser pull that it's going to attract exactly the right people. And from there, again, we don't have to be louder. We just have to connect with those people, because there's plenty if we would just get really have a laser experience versus a megaphone one.
Absolutely, because there are tons of people who do not resonate with me. And you know what? I love them all. I love them all, because even if you self-select out and you go, hey, this person isn't for me. If I've left you with a good engagement experience, you're still going to remember me, and you're still going to probably think, you know what, Joe over there, I know Joe's having a hard time, and there might be some connection there. So I'm going to go ahead. You know what I mean? It's like when we're doing the megaphone thing, it's all about clicks, transactions. Yeah. It's all about that currency. Let's trade that currency in. Let's trade that currency in for, I want to find the guitar string out there in the universe that thrums whenever my voice speaks. And I want to talk to that person, because in the end, especially when you're talking about, and most of my clients are coaches, when you're talking about filling your practice, you don't need clients. You don't need clients. You need people who are willing to pay you and follow the path that you set out, and become ragingly successful by doing so, that they will tell other people. You don't need every single person to respond to that dating profile. You need a few, to run a coaching business. Maybe you need 20 clients, maybe you need 40. You do not need 1 billion people on your Instagram. You do not.
Yeah. I hope everybody listens, just rewind and listen to that again, because if it can really go in at a cellular level, that'll change everything in our lives. Like the focus and the filter of really knowing that we do not need everybody. The game is not more likes, more clicks, more followers. It's more of the right people, but that number inherently will be smaller to begin with. Yeah. But it'll be the right people. And those people, again, as their experience changes because of you, because of their interaction, they're going to naturally tell, like they become the megaphone of having one person yelling as loud as they can, or 100 people all having an average conversation. The amount of loudness from those 100 people sharing their experience with you is way better than having 1 million people you're yelling at. This is so awesome. And the other thing you've done, I just want to incorporate this, because you mentioned as you went back, you started networking. I do want you to share your story. Obviously, a lot of people will be listening to this, but those who watch will see that you've got a cape on, you've got goggles on. You are a literal superhero in the flesh, in our presence. And so I'd like you to share, one, how that happened, but mainly on your journey of becoming, you said not everyone has to resonate with you, right? And just kind of share how being more you and really leaning into this. Just share that, I guess, start with that story. And then I want to kind of you had mentioned this I want to get to being able to embrace our uniqueness or our weird in a way that just is really empowering.
Well, so the story of how the cape and the goggles came to be.
Yeah.
So when I first got into bots, I worked with a lot of live streamers. Live streamers wanted to get more people in the seats at their shows. And a really great way to do that was reaching out through Facebook Messenger. You could message anybody you wanted at the time. No restrictions. This is when it first came out. And so people would hire me to write, announcements and little engagement pieces for their show. I was supporting a fellow live streamer of mine, because when you're a live streamer, if you want butts and seats, go sit in someone else's live stream too. Don't just expect everybody to come to you. So we kind of, we had a little group of us that would go and attend each other's live streams. I was attending the live stream of a friend, and I saw this woman, and this red-haired, crazy, kind of a smart aleck. So right up my alley. And anyway, so she was talking about this formula that she used whenever she introduced herself to speak, because she was talking about getting tired of getting paid in hugs whenever she spoke. And that kind of smacked me in the face. It was just like, I've been paid in hugs so often. And I love hugs, but baby, they ain't paying the rent. Yeah. So, well, unless you do something completely different from a living, that's another podcast. All right. So she was giving this formula, and I'm like, you know what? I have a speaking gig tonight, and I usually don't get anything monetarily out of these things. I'm going to try this formula. If this lady, if she has substance, then something different ought to happen.
Mm.
So I did it. I wrote this thing down, and I'm like, oh, I practiced it a little bit, and I did it that night. And I still didn't make any money, Jeff. But the attention of the people in the room was entirely different.
Mm.
And we did all go out to dinner afterwards. And I had never experienced that before. It was amazing. And so this lady, this red-haired person, she was doing all this speaking. And so I began to see her name everywhere because she was promoting an event of hers. I finally, stalked her enough online, apparently, that she noticed me or something. And she said, she was talking about her event, and it was a superhero event. And so I said, because I'm a smart aleck too, I wrote in the comments, if it's a superhero event, I'm wearing a cape. And she saw it, and she said, you darn well better, RJ Redden.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay, I think I'm stuck now. So I showed up to the event wearing a cape, and I had a very itchy mask that didn't fit very well at the time. I showed up, and no one was dressed up. And I felt, you know what, you dare me and I become a different person, Jeff. And so I'm like, that's it. I don't care.
Because you're naturally a little bit more introverted. Yes.
Much more introverted. If you saw me at that point at a networking meeting, I'm the one with my back against the wall, drink in my hand, and on a beeline for the bathroom.
Mm.
I just talking to people, and especially in like a business situation, made me feel sleazy, made me feel like I was pitching, and I just hated it. I dreaded it so much. But anyway, there I was at this event, and I was so close to talking myself out of it, because it was like, you're never going to talk to anybody, RJ. You're just going to hang out with your back against the wall, and you're just going to hang out with a friend or something like that and never do anything. But I talked myself into going. I was the only one in a cape, and something entirely unexpected happened that my brain didn't even have room for. And that was this: when you wear a cape, you don't have to worry about going up, having the courage and going to talk to anybody. They come talk to you. They do. They come with, oh my God, I love your cape. What gives you the courage to wear such things? And I'm like, courage? This was an accident. I did not say that. But what I found out was that the cape was my laser. The cape was my, this is absolutely my freak flag. I'm putting it right on my back, and we're going to let this thing fly. And if you are repulsed by the cape, you'd probably be repulsed by my sense of humor as well. If you don't like how I put things, if you don't like how I present, then that's okay. Not everybody in the world needs to be my client. In fact, I prefer to choose my clients. I prefer to get on the phone with them, talk to them, see how they sit. What's their smile like? Do they laugh at things? What's their point of view? I want to know those things. And so the cape it was just like a little beacon. It was just like, and people hired me at that conference, people who would never have hired me at home. And then 3 weeks later, I was at that conference. I was asked to speak at the next one in the same town 3 weeks later. It was in Phoenix. I walk into the room. I've got my book bag with me because I carry it everywhere, and it's got my cape and goggles in. But I was like, should I do that again? Was that a fluke? And a branding person who had been there 3 weeks before, name's Catherine. She walks up to me and she says, no. Go get your cape and goggles. This is your brand now. You don't understand. So I had them in my backpack. I put them on, and then I don't know. Now I just wear them all the time. I've worn them on a cruise ship. I have worn them outside accidentally to let my, to give my dog little walk. I sometimes accidentally wear the goggles in the airport, but you know what? It's beautiful. It's a part of me now. And it's not me putting something on and becoming someone else. It's me putting something on and revealing what was here the whole time.
There's a permission to it. And I think, well, I'm curious now, you had mentioned kind of in pre start of this conversation about the importance of embracing, each of us embracing our uniqueness, our weird, as you kind of mentioned, because it is, for me, it's permission. As you mentioned, like there's something lighter about someone who's not dressed exactly the same or not doing things exactly the same as everyone else. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, they're fun. Like, and now I don't have to pretend either, because they're not pretending, we're not. So now we can get past that, and I can show up maybe a little bit more playful, have maybe a little bit more of me show up. And now we're in a totally different realm. So speak to me about embracing our weird. Like, give me a little bit of how that fits into all of this.
Absolutely. So when I was very first doing my business, I put on a polo and I did a live streams, and I would say the things that the research told me were keywords. And I'm gonna draw people in. I had this huge idea that I was gonna look the same as everybody else, sound the same as everybody else, deliver basically the same content as everybody else, and stand out. No, it just didn't.
But we do that, right? Like do this, and you're going to stand out. But if everyone's doing this and this and this and this, what we just have is a bunch of the same, right? Like we're like, how could we possibly think that result's going to get, or that formula is going to get unique, which is,
yes. Yeah. Well, and here's the other side of it. The other side of it is a lot of people out there right now just pitching, oh, you're just this much away from making billions of dollars and having a yacht and doing all this stuff. And, you said at the beginning, what if that isn't my definition of success?
Yeah.
Now I'm following your directions to get to the apple orchard that you want me to get to. And I hate apples.
Yeah. Or
the problem.
Or someone's been saying you're going to love apples, but when you get there, you taste it, it's like, this isn't quite as good as I thought it was going to be. And I think given a little bit of reflection, almost everybody in a very short period of time knows that's not what they want, really. Right. Maybe it'd be nice to go on a yacht once in a while. Maybe it'd be nice. But the reality is most of us, if not, I mean, the lion's share of us want the same stuff, right? We want to be healthy. We want to have deep connections with the people that we love. We want to make a difference in the world in a way that's meaningful to us. We want to share our gift. Like it's very, very, very close to universal. Like these, and that is not dependent on, and yet we're all sold this far away from just your next million, this far away from being a billionaire. So please continue, because I just think unhooking from that, giving ourselves permission to get what we really want sooner, being present to the fact that we do know what we really want. It's actually, we're able to create a lot of that experience now. We don't have to, as your Austrian business mentor said, we don't have to defer. We don't have to defer. We can be happy, fulfilled, content, connected and healthy and all those other things right now. And I think that's, to me, that's one of the biggest goals of this show, is just that more people just understand they have that choice. And that by listening to people like you who have really walked it and said, and now again, all the benefits that come from being yourself, from revealing a little bit more of you quicker. Again, it makes sense after the fact, but it takes a little bit of courage to go out of the standard format, right? Like, yeah. I mean, what is the voice? What is the encouragement, I guess, or what is the baby step that you would give others, say, to embrace a little bit of their uniqueness and be themselves, or I love owning your weird. So I really want to lean into that. I used to live in Austin, and the host city was, I can't remember, Austin Weird.
Keep
Austin Weird. It was just weird. Really, yeah, it was really a pride factor. So please share a little bit about guidance you might give people to lean into or embrace more of their weird.
I would say this. Meditate on this tonight if you can, folks. What if you were far more attractive and powerful than you realize? What if? I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying it's not true. I want you to go here's what I want you to do. If you're a Star Trek fan, the holodeck. The holodeck, for the non-Star Trek fans, it's a place where you can write a little program and all of a sudden you're in San Francisco 1859 on a street corner, and there's a, down to the last detail. What does the scene look like? What if you were more attractive and powerful than you realize? What does that scene look like for you? I want you to imagine it in detail. And then I want you to email me with that dream. Just email me or email Jeff. He would love to hear it too. Because you know what? We are all on the journey to that. That's what I want. I want you to tell me what orchard you want to go to. Or if it's an orchard at all. I want you to tell me, what does it look like, feel like, smell like, taste like? I want you to give me every detail. Because that, my friend, that is where owning your uniqueness, embracing your weird, that is where it gets you. I am not sitting up here saying keywords. I'm talking to your heart. If you've turned me off already, I love you anyway. But through the people that are right here, right now, it's just time, isn't it? It's just time. And I want you to do that little meditation tonight for me and write down what you find. Write me, write Jeff. We will get involved.
That's awesome. We'll make sure both of our emails are in the show notes. So encouraging everyone to take RJ up on that challenge. It's something we can all do today. And I love the question. What if we were more attractive and powerful than we realized? Immediately that conjures up something. And so whatever that is, go with it and then paint the picture in your very own holodeck down to the closest and most minute detail that you can. And I think we're all getting a sense, like we've heard visualization, we've heard this, but this way that RJ just set that up, I think for me, it hits different. It hits hard. So give that a try. That's a beautiful one. So thank you so much for that, RJ. I do want to be a little conscientious of your time. We're going to head into the home stretch. Where is the best place for people to get more of you and to connect with you?
Well, I have created something for folks that, there are 91 marketing tools out there. And the reason that there's a new one every second, my friends. What I took a look at that because I like to buy software. Jeff, I like to buy some software. I'm a geek.
We all have hobbies. Some of us just need more software. Yep.
Yes. But then, half of it doesn't help you at all. Half of it only does a portion of what it said. You know what I mean? And so in people too, they will get up and they'll say, this is the secret to success. Well, it's the secret to their success. But would I have the same success? So I began to look at it in kind of a holistic way. And what I came up with is that certain tools are excellent for certain personalities. If you're super introverted, I am not going to force you to get on camera 5 days a week, because what you're going to do is dread your marketing. It's not going to get done. And then all of that will be a waste of time. So here's what I got. I have got a little quiz for you. It's called, it's yourcorecode.com. We'll throw that in the notes for you. Go take the quiz. It's about 20 questions. It will take you 5, perhaps 6 minutes. Okay. It'll ask you a bunch of questions about your personality, and then it's going to tell you what kind of marketing personality you have. And then it will give you the real coolness, which is a list of customized marketing activities according to your personality, right? Awesome. Because there are certain things, Jeff, that fuel my fire that won't fuel yours, that you'll dread, and vice versa. So the secret is all of these marketing activities work. They all work. It's just that some of them are better for heart-centered people. Some of them are better for people who like to look at statistics and click on things and make Excel rows dance and all of that kind of thing. What is it that's going to make your heart dance? Because when you are putting your business together and you've got to wear 17 hats, you've got to pick your activities wisely. Nobody's ever going to give you your time back. You want to pick what's going to be A, most effective for you, and B, fill your heart a little while you do it. So that's my free gift to you all. Go take the quiz, find out that personality, get the customized list, and you'll start to see how you need to focus that laser.
Beautiful. I'm really grateful to you not only for sharing that. I think as again, so much of what you say reminds me and just connects dots from different things, but in getting in shape and a lot in the wellness arenas, they all say, find some activities that you like doing, because we're much more likely, 10 times more likely to continue doing those activities if we choose things that are in line with who we are. So it makes sense to apply that same kind of thought process to marketing and then to have a tool to actually get clear. Wait a second, I don't actually like these things, or I'm more naturally, my natural tendencies are to be over here, to be creative in these ways, which is great because we are bombarded. Like, you listen to someone like Gary Vee and he says, you got to have 75 pieces of content all over it's overwhelming, especially if we're a solopreneur or have a small team. So this is a great gift, everyone. I want you to take advantage of that and follow. And also just get in RJ's world. So just follow RJ. Obviously you can just get a sense of, this is someone who's walking the walk and really she's found how being more of her has put her in this tremendously unique way to deliver on her mission to the people who are ready and like eager and waiting for her to come along and help them on their journeys as well. So RJ, in a moment, I'm going to ask you if you have any final words for our audience. But before I do that, I just want to thank you for being with us today. You are just an absolute joy as a human being, a wealth and fountain of knowledge. And just an expert, beautiful storyteller, and just wonderful. I find myself just learning and connected and engaged in just a really wonderful way. So thank you for being you, not only with us today, but thank you for being who you are in the world and the example that you're being for all of us to embrace our weird, to say yes to being more of ourselves more quickly with the right people, and to let go of things that don't matter as much and continue to lean into the things that are important to us. So with all of that, any final words for our audience, RJ?
I would think my final words today have to do with embracing that uniqueness. Me, I've always felt a little off center, Jeff. I am a left-handed human. I'm good at art and computers. I speak in a way that, was very strange to my fellow high schoolers. They were all like, why do you always talk as if you're in a play? I'm like, Shakespeare made up words. Why can't I? That's not normal. I've always been that not normal side. When I tried to kind of fit myself into that, that was a very big learning for me to not do that anymore. But I'm gonna end with a second what if, and this is a bonus what if for all of those playing along at home. The bonus what if is this: if you showed that side of yourself, which is unique to yourself, would that be that laser call to those other human beings? Every one of us has a fingerprint that is different than every other person. The configuration of everything that is you, your physical body, all your thoughts, all your memories, all of your work in the world. All of these things are your fingerprint. What could you show to the world tomorrow? Tomorrow, for free, costing you nothing at all, in maybe a little bit of time, investment in this thought process. What if that unique beautifulness, what side could you show that would really resonate with the people that you want to work with so badly?
There it is. Mic drop. We're going to let that kind of linger. I really want to encourage everybody, do the exercise, do the first what if. What if you were more attractive and powerful than you ever realized? get that scene. And then second, this one, what is the uniqueness, the thing that makes you, that if you showed more of, would be that laser, that magnet to really attract the people that you want in your life and in your business as ideal clients and friends and partners and so on. So please do these things. This is gold here that RJ has given us. So thank you so much, RJ. I really do appreciate who you are, and I'm so grateful that you joined us today. And to all of you who are with us week in and week out, I'm Jeff Baedo, your host, reminding you that you're awesome and that the world is a better place with you in it, and that you were absolutely designed to be enjoying success. Thank you, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you, RJ. Bam, that was awesome.
Always. Pretty much everything I do with you is awesome, Jeff. So fun,
RJ. That was really amazing. I'm going to bring Andrew on just so you can see his wonderful face and have him tell you how awesome it was for him as well. And then we'll let you get going.
Hey, Andrew.
Hello. How's it going? That was a fantastic hour of free coaching that I've stolen from you. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
It's a gift. It's a gift. And you as a producer are a gift. I'm telling you, I just got a producer for my own little thing. I'm much smaller, but it is such a beautiful thing to hand the cords to someone else. And thank you for doing what you do.
Yes, of course. I think there was one thing in particular, just not being louder to get heard, that I just love that. I mean, I also do lots of our marketing stuff, and I think that's just so important for everyone that does any sort of marketing to know. You just got to laser focus on the right people instead of, spread shot, just waiting, hoping you hit something. So I appreciate you as the bottom line behind that as well. You are a modern day superhero. So
thank you. Can't leap tall tall buildings in a single bound. Not yet. I'm really short. You can't see that on the screen, but I'm like 5'2". So that's we're gonna have to do leg day a couple of times for that.
We all have our own superpowers. Someone else
started
a
one-story building.
Yeah. RJ, here's what'll happen. This episode will go to our editor. It'll be a little light editing, and then it'll go in the queue. We're a couple weeks out from when it'll drop. Andrew will be in touch the week before and let you know the exact day that it's going to be coming out. And then the day that it does, he'll send you the links, and he puts together some really cool little pull quotes from the show, graphics that you can share with your tribe. And then obviously we'll be pushing it out to everyone as well. Oh my gosh, you guys, thank you so much. This is a gift. Podcasts are a gift, man. And they're so awesome. Yeah. Well, and Andrew, if you are at all interested, I got a little community. You are welcome to join. You're welcome to join. And if it gives you any ideas on how to, support all the things that you support, then glad to have you. Glad to have you. I have your email, so I'll send you a little invite.
That sounds awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You bet.
And RJ, we've got things that we got to do too. So you let me know about, the next, if you want to think about the workshop, I know that we had talked about whatever is next. And then, and again, when appropriate, but hopefully sooner than later, if Brent's willing to jump on a call, I'd love to just hear and, just from him, like, okay, we need these things, but in general, Andrew's actually cutting the clip for me today I
already sent it to you. It's in your
inbox. Where Pedro's like, we just got to figure out how to make this evergreen. Like, and I just want 5 minutes with Pedro to be like, we've got you. Like, we're just literally, we want to help as many people as possible. You're helping so many people. Like, let's really help them really just make this easier to run, and you can get to more. Plus let's make, you might as well make a couple extra $1 million this year as well. So let's do that as well.
Just a couple.
Oh my gosh, you guys would help so many people, honestly, because I don't know if you know Andrew, but I work with Pedro. I do his bots.
I've heard a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so
Are you the person that does the messaging bots for his Facebook group, like for that?
For his challenges, he has some people that work in Messenger for that. I do his support.
I see.
So okay. Yeah, so all of the stuff I do that stuff behind the scenes. He just loves Messenger. God love him.
Yeah,
so
I just learned that his Messenger bots are his are way cheaper for him than his actual Facebook ads that he's running. Is what one of the things that I just picked up from watching this workshop a little bit, is that's his new go-to strategy. It's like 50% of the people that joined his last challenge came in because they were messaged by a bot. So that's why I was like, oh my goodness, you're behind, you're right there. So I think that's so super exciting.
It is. It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time. Yeah, Facebook ads is.
Do you do Messenger bots? Like, will your bots work in Messenger?
Yes, they will work in Messenger. I prefer to get off. And here is why. Because I want to, as a person who is a designer, I want to control your experience. I want to have control over everything. And I do not want 50,000 notifications in your view. And Facebook does want that. They want to distract you and keep you in the all-day carnival that is Facebook. That is their business. I want to take you to a web page where everything that is in front of you, I have designed for your experience.
Sure.
So, I mean, if you think of like taking a class or something, do you want to take a class in a tiny little square of, your screen, which is blinking at you, or do you want to have a quiet place to think?
Yeah, well, think about also, because for us, I'm interested in learning more about where in our business we could use, your services and bots and so on. So again, we're new to this. Like we're running some ads on Facebook. That's one thing we do. Again, sending people to sign up for, or, to watch a little video or something. But if you have let's talk about this because I think this would be really nice. We just don't know. So again, especially, Pedro is a good kind of way shower. Like he's the epitome of kind of where we want to be at some point, even though we might be more behind the scenes for a lot of people, maybe not. But again, how do we invite people to experience our platform? And what would you recommend kind of in terms of possibly working specifically with your services? So just think about it and I'd love to hear if you have any ideas.
Oh, absolutely. And Messenger is good for what it does, drawing a crowd. That is absolutely the best thing that it does do, is take people. I think of it as a gateway. Messenger is a gateway drug. And what I usually do when I'm doing Messenger is I do use it as a gateway to some of my other experiences, because the other experiences are much more in depth and I can do so much more. So
okay.
I will definitely think about that for you guys. And yeah, well, and something I had a talk with a guy who is seriously thinking about going with your product. His name, I talked to him earlier today. His name was, it was Alan Simberg.
Okay.
So Alan talked to me about, he was in something, you actually talked to him in somebody's like a Monday kind of a workshop thing for authors.
Oh yeah.
Alan was in that crowd, and then he was talking to me today, and he's really seriously thinking of going with your software. He's super nice, but I was talking to him about hiring me, and then he's like, well, that's going to be a lot right now. And I'm like, well, there may be some workshops in the future. And he seemed like highly interested in the workshops we were talking about.
Okay.
You know what? I just want to do everything with you. I want to meet you weekly for the rest of my life and be best friends. How about that?
All right, there it is. Done.
Okay.
Well, and let's just start week after week. So let's talk to Brent next week. Let's get a workshop. Let's figure out how we can work together and use your services. I think most of that author group is really great. That was Kelly. I don't know if you remember seeing Kelly. Kelly F. So her, I spoke to 10 of them. I think 7 of them are 6 or 7 of them are now going to be working with us, which is amazing. Alan would be, I think would be the 7th. So it's just super exciting. So it's a small world. I'm glad Alan and all the all those people kind of coming in. And again, we're going to start. I think this is going to start to get faster. So please do let me know, and we'll get a workshop on the books, and we'll start to do things. So Brent, workshop, bots, let's figure it all out. Okay. And then then that will be a nice, at least summer of connection for you and I.
It's going to be great. I talked to Brent on Wednesday morning.
Okay.
So I will let him know, those questions that he had. I'll let him know the answers and say, hey, I think a meeting would be great. And so I will push that meeting along. I should be able to tell you on Wednesday and get you looking at your schedule for some open spots so that he can, because, Brent, he's such a nice guy, and just so willing to talk to people about the process. So I envision he'll want to meet with you.
Wonderful. Well, I'll look forward to that. Either way, we'll be talking a lot more over time, and in a couple of weeks, you'll have this episode will be live, which will be really great to have out.
Yeah, we're about 2 or 3 weeks out. So you'll be probably beginning of July or the end of June, basically. I'll need to check our schedule, but that should be right around when you'd be released.
That's going to be beautiful, Andrew. Thank you so much.
All right, my friend. Have a great rest of your day.
Yay. Okay.
And a great weekend. Take care.
Jeff,
RJ.
you stay on for a sec.
Sure.
Great.